But my beats, they are hard.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the BCSN SportsWrap. A.D. Drew here. My partner Brian Fulford is off on assignment this week. But before he disappeared on us, we were able to do some interviews with the 5 basketball teams that are still remaining in the NCAA or NAIA tournament. You know, we like to do things in fives here at the BCSN and with the SportsWrap. So we've got 5 coaches that we've got 5 teams alive that we're talking to. Had the opportunity to talk to 4 of the coaches. One coach's schedule did not permit for us to do the interview with him, but we will hope to get that interview with that particular coach at another late date and time for you guys. But before we begin, want to remind you all that you can listen to the SportsWrap podcast. You can take it anywhere that you want to take it with you. It's available on Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, iHeart, Apple, and just about anywhere else where you get your podcast. So download, like, subscribe, and share. Whatever that service does, please do it for us. Also, you can catch the BCSN SportsWrap. You can follow us on our website, www.mybcsn.net. You can download our app, which will get you the latest and the greatest of not only the SportsWrap, but everything that is offered by the Black College Sports Network. Go to Google Play or the Apple App Store, search MyJBN or MyBCSN, download our app, take it with you anywhere you want to go. Also follow us on our Facebook page, that's BCSN SportsWrap, or the Black College Sports Network for everything that we offer, including live streaming of HBCU sports. You can also follow us on YouTube, MyJBN Online, and don't forget about our Twitter feed, MyBCSN and the number 1. Once again on Twitter, MyBCSN and the number 1. You can follow me personally on Twitter, BCSN Drew. That's BCSN DREW. And the most important thing of all, we need your support. Go to myjbn.com/support. Not a whole lot. $5, cup of coffee, a gallon of milk, whatever it costs, whatever you would like to give us. Hey, just got your stimulus back, so stimulate us, help us out. We need stimulus package. We need relief too. So let's get back to what we have going on here in college basketball. We've got 5 teams that are alive. Got 3 men's teams, 2 women's teams that are alive. Let's start off with the women. Number 15, Jackson State. The Lady Tigers of Jackson State will take on number 2 Baylor from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. That game will be on this Sunday at 4 p.m. on ABC. Unfortunately, HBCU fans are going to have to make a decision on which game they're going to follow, because also at the same time on ESPN, the North Carolina A&T Lady Aggies will be taking on North Carolina State from Strahan Arena that's on the campus of Texas State University. Once again, that tip-off time is 4 p.m. on ESPN. So BAC fans, ESPN, SWAC fans, ABC. On the men's side, Norfolk State, Texas Southern. First four playing-in game, now called the opening round game. We all know what it is. It's an excuse to try to get rid of the smaller colleges and universities so that the big boys can continue to play. So on Thursday, 8:40 p.m., True TV, Norfolk will take on Appalachian State. Winner of that game will take on Gonzaga, the #1 overall seed, on Saturday. But before that game tips off, 5:10 p.m., True TV, Texas Southern will take on Mount St. Mary's. Both of those games will be from Assembly Hall on the campus of Indiana University. The winner of that Texas Southern Mount St. Mary's game will take on Michigan, also on Saturday. Speaking of Texas Southern, did you know that Texas Southern was the last NAIA team to win the basketball championship in Kansas City? Well, since we're shifting from Texas Southern NAIA, let's look at our one remaining team that we have not talked about, and that being the Stillman Tigers. Stillman Tigers came into the NAIA basketball tournament number 13 overall. Well, they're currently the number 8 seed in the final 16 that are playing in Kansas City. They will be taking on St. Francis. That tip-off time will be 3 p.m. on this Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern time on this Thursday from the Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City, Missouri. That will be a paid game, meaning you will have to pay to watch that game. That game is available on NAIA.org. Once again, that game is available on NAIA.org. So good luck to all of the teams that are remaining that are representing HBCU. During the last couple of days, we've been able to interview 4 of the 5 coaches of these teams. Coach John Teasley from Stillman, Coach Turner Robinson from the Lady Aggies of North Carolina A&T, Coach Robert Jones from Norfolk State, and courtesy of the 1400 Club, we were able to have an interview with Coach Tamika Reed of the Lady Tigers of Jackson State University. Unfortunately, our schedules did not mesh with Coach Johnny Jones of Texas Southern, so we were not able to talk to Coach Jones for Texas Southern, but we will look to get an interview with him at a later date and time for everyone. But before we get out of here, want to throw one shout out, one congratulations before we get out of here. That congratulation goes out to Coach Robert Bo Browder of Xavier University of Louisiana. This past Friday, Coach Browder picked up his 500th collegiate victory. That victory came in a win over Benedictine of Kansas. The game occurred in Lakeland, Florida, in the opening round of the women's NAIA tournament. So, Coach Browder, congratulations from all of us here at the Black College Sports Network and for those throughout the HBCU diaspora. Once again, 500 victories. So that's a lot of time. So congratulations on that. Now, we're going to ask you to stay around. We'll be right back in just a moment with our interviews with Coach Teasley, Coach Reed, Coach Roberts, Coach Robinson, and Coach Jones as we look into what's been going on with them as they get ready for the NCAA tournaments and for Coach Teasley for the NAIA tournament. You're listening and watching the BCSN Sports Wrap A.D. Drew, partner Brian's off on assignment this week. So we'll be back with you guys just after these messages.
Follow the Black College Sports Network on social media at MyBCSN1, the number 1, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MyBCSN1.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Support the Black College Sports Network so we can continue to provide you coverage. Go to myjbn.com/support and be a part of the Black College Sports Network.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
All right, welcome back to another edition of the BCSN Sports Wrap, live here with Stillman College head coach John Teasley, fresh off a victory in the opening round of the NAIA tournament, 72-64 over Kaiser University, and now Stillman advances to the Sweet 16. I'm not sure if they call it that in the NAIA, but it's the Sweet 16, the top 16 teams in the national tournament. Coach, congratulations. Thanks for joining us on the Sports Wrap again.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
And so, heading back into the national tournament for Stillman, but let's talk a little bit about the game on Saturday. Stillman was one of the 16 1 seeds, teams that had a bye, and I believe you were the 13th overall seed. And in your tripod, and these were games played at Montgomery, Alabama. You had an opportunity to watch Kaiser versus Georgetown, Kaiser, Florida, Kaiser out of the Sun Conference, and then Georgetown, Kentucky. Tell us a little bit about what it was like, just the opportunity to be able to watch those two opponents and sort of plan your strategy for your game. It eventually would be against Kaiser, and not having to play.
Yeah, just being able to have that day off, just to be able to watch and rest your legs and get ready. And it kind of gave us, I felt, a good advantage of the game. And just being able to be sitting right there on courtside and watching them, up close and personal. It really, you can watch film all day long, but it's really a blessing to be able to sit there and watch it firsthand. So, yeah, I think it did us, it helped us. I know that. So.
What was maybe one or two things that you saw in person that didn't translate or that you were curious about from the film versus being able to watch in person?
Yeah, just like when you watch film, you can tell when guys are playing, hard. But when you sit there and just see how actually hard they play and how guys don't take plays off and things like that, and just the energy that they bring, it's just different when you're in person. And Kaisers are one of those teams that play with a lot of energy and they have, they're from their first player all the way to the end of their bench, everybody plays so hard and they're very intense when they play. So they're a very good basketball team.
All right, Coach Teasley,
Yes,
let's
sir.
take it back to practice before you guys played in Montgomery.
Yes.
You're obviously in a good bad situation by having the bye, but you had two opponents to prepare for because I'm pretty sure you got about most of your work done before you went to Montgomery. So kind of tell everybody, how is it to actually prepare for two opponents and then, throw it out the window and, maybe have another film session or in-house meetings and then have to go play those opponents. I don't know if you guys were able to get a practice in after the Kaiser game, but.
Yeah, no. When you prepare for two opponents and you don't know which one you're going to play, it's tough. But that's when you have good assistant coaches that scouting reports are key. A lot of film watching. I tell our guys all the time. I have two guys with Coach Gerald Watkins and Coach DeMars Walker. That three heads are better than one, especially in situations like that. So we kind of split duties and just try to see as much as we can in such a short period of time. And when it comes to us, like for preparing for opponents, we really try to make sure that we take care of what we do well and make sure we still do those things well and try to look for ways that they would take that away from us and things like that to prepare us to be ready for anything. And so that's one of the main focuses of why we've been so successful is we really take care of what's in-house, the things that we can control. And then, when you watch film and do those kind of things, you just try to get ready for anything, how Kaiser plays, what they like to do and how Georgetown plays. And you just try to figure out what ways you can limit them on the things that they like to do and how you can maintain what you like to do. And that's really the things that we try to focus on.
All right, going back to that film study one last time.
Yeah.
You scouted both these teams.
Right.
You're watching them live.
Yes, sir.
How many times were you able to actually call out, I think they're going to run this here. They're going to get the ball to this person in this position. How much of that was an advantage to you being able to sit up there and actually having seen them, but then watching them and seeing how much of those patterns that you saw on film actually came true in real life?
Yeah, no, just you were able to pattern, and they were ready for us too. They, they done a lot of different things too to match us, and it's really a game of adjustments at that point in time. But we were able to call out some things that we knew that Corvon Lott was going to get the basketball in his hands a lot that game. He's been their engine, and we felt like if we could sputter him a little bit and throw him off rhythm and just keep other guys playing different roles than they normally play, that would probably keep their timing off on offense and defense. Both of these teams are sound defensively. They do a good job at the fundamental parts of defense, which is going to help you no matter what we throw at them. But we knew that executing in the half court was going to be key. So we did that I think we did that the best we've done it all season, and really executing our sets and doing the things that we needed to do to score the basketball. And it kind of helped Trey Petty get back on rhythm, who was off for a few games. And it really helped us being able to have we really had about 4 or 5 days of rest to get healed up for this game, and then a solid week of practice to really get these guys locked in to play these opponents.
All right, now I'm supposed to throw some years out here at you, Coach. Did a little bit of research before we talked.
Yes, sir.
The last team from Alabama to make it to the NAIA Final Four was Talladega in 2015, which happens to be the last HBCU to make it to the Final Four. That last team from Alabama to win the NAIA championship was 2001, which was Faulkner.
Right.
Let's see. The last HBCU to make the championship game was West Virginia State in 1982. The last HBCU to win the NAIA was Texas Southern in 1977. A lot of people don't realize Texas Southern was an NAIA.
Right.
Now, no pressure on you, Coach. Number one, how does it feel to be the only small school HBCU still playing? And number two, when you hear stuff like that, does that become kind of motivations carrying the mantle for HBCUs, or how do you use things like that to prepare yourself, or do you just throw it out the window and say,
Yeah.
hey, we gonna put on our shoes, we gonna play ball and do what we do?
Yeah, well, it's always good to hear those kind of things, and people always I never have a good answer for this for them, because I'm one of those guys that just really lock in, and our business office here at Stillman will let you know I don't book a trip or anything till I know I'm actually going on that trip. And I'm one of those kind of guys. We're not booking a trip to Kansas City till we make the trip to Kansas City. We don't look ahead or look too far ahead or anything, but to hear those kind of numbers, it's really just, I mean, those are some great teams and great numbers that you brought out, and us being able to be in the mix with just even mentioned with those teams like that is always an honor. But for us, it's just, we try to do the best thing that we can do to represent Stillman College, to represent ourselves and our families, and that's what we focus on, just trying to be the best student athlete representative for Stillman College, and these guys, when they focus on that, you see what it gets them, and that's really all we do. We just focus on being the best that we can be. Like I tell these guys that, everybody talks about success, but success defined to me is taking what God gives you and maxing it out. And whether it's a small school or whatever, big school, it doesn't matter, as long as you take what you got and you max it out. And that's what these guys are doing. And they're really buying into that. And now they're believing in it as well. So.
Well said, Coach. Let me go back to the game against Kaiser briefly one last time. You jumped out to a nice lead on Kaiser. Of course, they got it. They went on a little run of their own, but really about the middle of the first half is where you grabbed the lead and really held on to it for the rest of that ball game. But one of the stats that I was paying attention to and noticing was the assist to turnover ratio. You guys kept the turnovers down to 7, I believe was the count. Almost 16 assists to 7 turnovers.
Yeah.
And I mean, it sounds cliche to say, the team that turns the ball over the fewest times is the team that has the most success. But in the way that you have played in the games that you have, is that for your team the most important stat for you guys, or was there maybe a combination of a couple other things that worked in addition to the low turnovers?
Yeah, no, just the way we rebound the basketball is another thing, but we have focused. One of the things that I knew that we could get good at, like I told you, when we started this season and December the 27th, we only had 7 days to get ready. So our main focus was limiting our turnovers and sharing the basketball. And we figured if we did those two things well, that no matter what happened, we were going to be okay. So we kind of learned early that was going to be our calling card, was taking care of that basketball and sharing that ball. And that's really the key to our success. We've been leading that area all season, and that's why these guys have won so many games, is taking care of the basketball and plus sharing the basketball. It goes a long way. It makes guys play a little harder, makes them do more things that you get more out of them, especially when they get the ball in the hand. And a lot of people don't realize that 90% of this game is played without the ball in your hand. And but once you get it, it makes you, it just does something to you on the inside as a player, and it makes you play a little harder. So I think that that sharing that basketball has been key, and taking care of it definitely has been.
Now, as we move forward and look at the 16-team field, Stillman comes in as an 8 seed, which, congratulations on that. Now, the curious thing, though, when I look at the bracket, what should be said is that being part of the Southern States Athletic Conference, one of 2 conferences with 3 or more schools in the actual national tournament. So, I mean, that's it speaks volumes to the level of play in your conference, because, I mean, that's 7 schools coming from 2 conferences in a 16-team field. And it just so happens that, the 3 teams in your quad are from the Crossroads League, which I found kind of humorous, in that the way the seeding worked out, you've got not only the number 1 overall seed in your quad, you're playing St. Francis of Indiana, who's part of that Crossroads League, and then of course that number 1 seed is playing a 16 seeds out of the crossroads. So
Yeah.
a lot of respect for that. I'm sure you had to get a little chuckle when you saw how that seeding kind of worked out a little bit, right?
Well, no, this time of year, like I told you guys before, that everybody in this tournament is going to be good. They all have something special, and but we're right where we want to be. When you get here, you already know you're going to play the best, and that's what we want to do. We want to play the best. I mean, we want to be. That's the names that we want to be mentioned with. So we're here, and now we got to do what we're supposed to do to stay here. But it's exciting. To me, I just take it as it's just it's exciting. This is where we worked hard to get to.
Do you have any like conversations or anything in the days after, or maybe Sunday, with the coaches over at Faulkner, Loyola? I mean, you guys battled each other throughout the course of the year. I mean, it speaks volumes. Again, all 3 of your teams were nationally ranked. That's got to give you a pretty good feeling going into this when, really, as you said, it's a wild card. Everybody's everybody's good at this point of the season, but you got to feel good that, hey, we came out of a good conference. Your players feel well prepared for what's ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we played some of the best teams in the country just in our conference. We have one of the toughest basketball conferences in the country. I mean, when you play Loyola 5 times, we played them 5 times, and they're a Sweet 16 team, and then you got Faulkner, who's a top 10 team, who's also a Sweet 16 team. We get to play those guys, and William Cherries that are at the tournament every year. I mean, we got Dalton States. I mean, we got a lot of teams that are really, really good in this conference, and it does prepare you for March. And just being able to play those kind of teams, it does prepare you for anything. And because they're all different, every one of them plays different brand of basketball, and I'm pretty sure we'll probably see some more. But these guys, and now Talladega's coming to the league. It's only getting better and better. And so yeah, we're excited to be a part of the Southern States. I think it's a good fit for us. It's a good fit for basketball, and really it prepares you for March.
All right, Coach. You got 4 to go before you can cut down the nets.
Yes, sir.
What is the one thing that you still need to improve on in order to cut down the nets?
Well, we want to play better on the ball defense, for one, to keep us from having to rotate as often as we've been rotating. We need to limit that a little bit, especially on the defensive end. Another thing we need to do offensively, we need to make sure we execute in the half court. That is one of the biggest things, and that I learned being a part of any big time game or anything like that. If you execute in the half court and your on the ball defense is great, then you're going to be okay, because basically we focus on those things to try to get better at, and we struggle with that at times, and we're just fortunate to be so athletic that we're able to overcome some of those, but when you play a good team, and you saw what happened when we played Faulkner, we dug ourselves a hole, and it was mainly because of our on the ball defensive play really hurt us. And those guys, they played hard. We just wasn't able to stay in front of a man at times, and we dug ourselves a hole and had to fight our way back out, and we almost came out. But at the end of the day, if the hole wasn't dug, we probably would have been all right. But if we can do those things, I think we'll be okay, and we'll have a good shot at doing at getting to where we want to be.
All right. Now, Coach, a lot of people don't know kind of the 10-year history of Stillman. I'm very familiar with it. Stillman at one point in time was Division II,
Right.
member of the SIAC. Like a lot of our HBCUs, they went through some issues with finances, had to cut every program except for basketball, men's and women's basketball at one point in time, dropped down to NAIA. Obviously, enrollment decreased. Now, Stillman's back on the rise. Enrollment is up. You've got a lot of your other athletic programs have returned to campus. How big of a part does basketball play in that resurgence that Stillman has had? Probably over, I say, the last 5 years, they've really been back on the rise. The last 3 to 5 years.
Right. No, it's played a role. Anytime you're successful, it's always people, your canoe kind of rides a little lower because everybody gets in the canoe with you. But really the reason Stillman's on the rise is that we have such a great administration here from our president, Dr. Warwick, to all the way down, and they're working really hard to meet the needs of this community, to meet the needs for people that want to come to an HBCU, and really the administration is really done a great job of giving us the things that we need to be successful. Plus also, making it easier for us to be able to do the things that we need to do to win and get to where we need to be. I mean, it's just been really a team effort that really got us here from our academics to our administration to athletics. So. Yeah, it's definitely been fun to watch it go from where it was to where it is.
Coach, you had the opportunity to sort of watch and be maybe the last game of the day or of the schedule. Now you go to be in the first game, first day.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just an excitement thing that, hey, let's go, we don't have to wait around for anything, let's just go, or any kind of nerves about going first?
No, I'm just grateful. I get to coach basketball for a living, and a lot of people out there that we work so really hard and sacrifice so many things to be able to coach, and just to watch our guys, at this level, everybody's really, they love what they do, and just to see those guys get out there and play on a platform like they're fixing to get on, it's just going to be, it's really exciting to me. But I never get nervous about those kind of things. I just want our guys to just play well, and like I tell them all the time, we never lose. We either win or we learn, and they understand that as long as we give everything we got, we didn't lose, but we definitely learned something. But we didn't win, but we definitely learned. And those guys, they just look at it totally different. And they don't look at it as a loss. They look at it as a way to get better and a way to improve. And really, if you watch how, since I've been here, that's what we've done. I mean, we went from D2 to D1, boom. We went from there, made the national tournament. Now we finally won a game in the national tournament. We're learning. And just to be able to get to where we are right now, we're excited. We're either going to win or we're going to learn. And these guys understand there ain't no pressure. We're going to win or we're going to learn. And when we learn, we get better. And that's all I ever ask for them to do each day is get better each day. Did you get better today? Can you get better tomorrow? What do we got to do to keep getting better? And that's what we just keep instilling. And they're buying in. And because when you do those kind of things, everything else takes care of itself. So.
I love that.
I think you gotta.
I love that. I gotta write that down and keep hold of that one, Coach. I'm gonna credit you for that one.
From somebody else, I can't remember who, but it stuck with me too. So
love it.
Well, they say imitation is the best form of flattery, Coach. So you stole it from somebody, we gonna steal it from you. and one thing you got, you got conference player of the year.
Yeah.
Got another one on the first team. You got one on the second team. So you got a pretty good crew in order to go in there and make some noise in the national tournament.
Yeah. We just got to rebound that ball and stay in front of it. So they'll do good.
Before we let you go, Coach, give us maybe one or two things that you've seen in your early scouting of St. Francis that we can expect, or things that you'll be paying attention to and trying to figure out how to match up against.
They do a good job at sharing the ball. Those guys do a good job of getting in the lane and getting their shooters the basketball. Sort of similar to Faulkner, the way they play. They're a tough team. They sound defensively, so we have to be sound on offensively to match them. And it's just they got some great players that play hard and they shoot the lights out of it. They lead the country in made threes right now. So we're fixing to play a team that really can shoot the basketball, and I look forward to seeing how guys respond to that, because I think we do a good job at guarding the three. So that'll be a good matchup to watch to see, how that plays out. But yeah, they shoot the basketball, they shoot the cover off of it.
All right, nice. Well, again, Coach John Teasley and Stillman College, playing in the round of 16 in the national tournament. All 16 teams traveling to Kansas City, Missouri. That's a very cool, for those who aren't familiar with how the NAIA does it, it's a very cool thing that they do where they bring everybody into one site. And that's how they play, until they get a champion. And so the opening round and day begins on Thursday, March 18th, 2 p.m. Stillman's the first game out of the box. The number 8 versus the 9 seed versus St. Francis of Indiana. It'll be Southern States versus the Crossroads League, the 2 conferences with the most teams in the national tournament. So we'll be paying attention. We'll be watching, tweeting, sending out information, and you can watch it. It is on pay-per-view. I think there's a $9.95, or if you want to just buy in for the entire tournament pass, it's like $35. But you can also follow along with the live stats. And so we'll definitely be watching and sharing any information that we can, Coach. Okay. So safe travels up to Kansas City. And
you bussing or you flying, Coach?
We bussing.
All right.
We bussing.
Right. Bussing.
We got a nice one. We got a nice bus. So hopefully it'll be comfortable.
Good deal.
Gotcha.
Good deal. All right, Coach. Well, hey, good luck. Go 1-0 on Thursday, and we'll go from there. We'll see what happens after that. Okay.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it. Well, thank you for having us, Coach. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
All right.
My God.
It's another sad day in America.
Painful to be introduced to George Floyd during his last breath with a cop's knee on his neck. He deserved so much more.
How many black lives have to be taken before something is done?
We are not a threat.
I am shaking as I type.
This has got to stop.
We are sick of
We need
it.
conviction.
I just want us all to live.
Death will not stop until the powers that be are finally held accountable.
Don't look away from the truth until every one of us are free from white supremacy.
The world stands with you.
Criminalizing and killing of black and brown bodies is not new. It's as old as America. It's just getting filmed more.
Do you know what it feels like to be hunted? To have a new hashtag for a dead black person every single day? How does one plan a life if they aren't sure they will have a life to plan? Trayvon,
Armstrong, Deborah Dang,
Megan
Michelle Lee
George Floyd. His name was George Floyd. Say his name. Say his name.
George Floyd. Say his name.
Say their names.
Once again, and always, we fight for justice.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
Rest in power, beautiful. You didn't deserve this.
Hello and welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and AD here, and joining us, the head men's basketball coach of the MEAC champions, Norfolk State University, Coach Robert Jones. Coach, congratulations on the win. How you feeling today?
Hey, how you doing? I feel tired, but other than that, I feel okay.
Take us through a little bit of the emotions. You've been a part of the Norfolk State program for 13, 14 years. The last time Norfolk State, the first time I should say, Norfolk State won the MEAC and went to the dance, you were an assistant coach, and now you took over the program shortly after that, and you've been so close and grinding for so many years to get to this point. Share with us some of the emotions of finally getting it done and actually winning the championship this year and getting back to the tournament.
Man, just so many years of just being, like you said, so close, right there, one possession away, 2 possessions away, things like that. So, it just felt like a weight off my shoulders a little bit once we were finally able to get over the hump, because, we have, since I've been here, we have been pretty successful. So a lot of other boxes was checked along, from my Norfolk State resume. And now this is like the final box that was missing from everything. Because of course, we won the regular season before, and we won the regular season division this year, or co-champs or whatever this year. And we've been to the NIT, and we pulled off the Alabama upset, and all those other great things, but I just didn't have the NCAA tournament on my resume. So, now I feel like it's like, you feel complete now.
It's like validated. The world knows what we've known is that Norfolk State's got one of the best programs in the MEAC and black college football and just mid-major basketball and just in one of the best programs in the country. Feels like there's a bit of a validation with that maybe now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, without question. Because I mean, the program, of course, over the years have gotten a lot of different awards and looks and things like that because we were a pretty good mid-major, program. And I think that, just transition from trying to be like just strictly black, HBCU basketball, we want to be one of the best in the country. So with that being said, we have gotten some accolades with that. And then of course, the Alabama win was like started of the revalidation of the program. And then of course now to get the final stamp to go to NCAA tournament is a good thing. And hopefully we get some wins here. Like I told the guys, it's cool to come here. You get like these tournament gifts and all this other stuff. And, March Madness, but at the same time, the hardest part for a mid-major is to get into the tournament because usually it's a one-bid league. So you've already done the hard part. So now let's just have fun. Let's try to go get some wins now. I mean, we're here now, so let's try to go get some wins.
And you can say to your players that you guys did it in a pandemic. Hopefully no one will ever be able to say that again in our lifetime. And all of the things that you went through, talk a little bit about that if you would. I mean, the challenges of just this year when, I mean, let's be honest, we didn't know if we'd even have a season or how much of a season.
Yeah, I mean, we had no idea if we was going to play again. It was always touch and go with that. So for these kids to persevere, the numerous COVID testing, the sacrifices of family, loved ones, friends, social life, to get to this point is a credit to them. And, also, there's days of course, where, mental health kicks in. It's like guys are up and down sometimes. And some of the guys that normally aren't up and down or up and down because, there's a so we try to make basketball, an outlet for them. And, I guess it worked out well, but it's still, we still go through it though.
All right, Coach. Let's talk about the actual championship experience. And yeah, we're going to bring this back to COVID. Normally, you win a championship, not actually playing at home, but whether you play it at home or you're playing it on the road, you've got that moment when all your teammates, everybody jumps out at center court and you got the big huddle, and then you usually have the big crowd and maybe some people come down onto the floor once they get let down on the floor. Then normally you would go back, celebrate with your family, celebrate with your friends, and then have your watch party to see where you guys get seated at for the next
Yeah, I had to switch to the phone because I don't know what happened on the computer.
All right.
Go ahead and restart your question there, Drew, just in case. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I need to get rid of him on this. There we go. It stopped.
Okay.
All right. Let me start back over. All right. Let's talk about the actual championship experience, and we're going to relate this kind of back to COVID and this year, Coach. Okay. Normally, when you win a championship, you've got the big huddle out there at half court where everybody runs out and goes crazy there for a few minutes, hugging, celebrating, and everything else. Then you have some other people who come out on the floor as they get let on the floor. Then you would have your fans who will be congratulating you. Then you would go back to your dorm or to wherever celebrate with your family and friends. Then you have your watch party to see where you guys get seated at. That didn't happen this year. So if you would, Coach, just kind of tell us, it's been about 48 plus hours since you've actually won that.
Yeah, 48 hours.
It's been about 48 hours since you've won that championship, Coach. Just kind of tell us how those 48 hours have gone from from 00 on the clock to where you are right now?
Well, like you said, the first thing is, the celebration I had still happened, but it was just nobody else in the arena. It was like 200 people in the arena. Normally if the day, a lot of people were waiting for Norfolk State to win the championship at the Scope, So with that being said, it would have been a packed house, probably to capacity, honestly, and it would have been going crazy in there for us to win a championship, especially the way we won. We were up double figures a lot of the game, a lot of second half, I should say. We were up double figures, so it would have been pandemonium in there if we would have, won a championship in front of a packed house. But it did happen, and it just felt weird for a second. But then you go through it, the confetti comes out, you cut down the net, you do your post game interviews and stuff like that. The one thing that we didn't have like a big locker room celebration either, because we had to go and leave for Indy. So we had to literally cut the net, do the media. Soon as the guys started throwing water, that's like the biggest thing, right? Everybody wants to throw water for whatever reason, right? We had to say, hey man, you got to stop throwing water because we got to pack it. We got to go take this COVID test here and go to Indy in 2 hours. So everyone was like, what are you talking about, coach? So we had to stop the guys turn on the music, they all ready to be pumped up. And it's like, no, we can't do any of that, So then we get out here, straight from the championship game, basically. And we come and we get off the plane and go to the bus and things like that. And then even the bus, our travel party is 34, but we have 3 buses that take us around. So it's only 10 people per bus. That's all, 11 people per bus that's there. So that's a little weird experience too. So and then it takes us to the to the hotel, and then we get to the hotel, we do our COVID test, another COVID test as soon as we get here, and we go to our rooms and be isolated for the next 24 hours. And then it wasn't until last night at 9:30 p.m. once we had 2 COVID tests to come back negative that we were able to go and have practice. And for that practice, all we did was like shoot around, just try to get our legs under us a little bit, things like that. But it was like the first time the guys were let out of their rooms to have any interaction with anybody else. So that was like a special moment for everybody to like have, interaction. So, that's kind of the rundown. And today we had practice. And so things are a little bit back to normal. So we can't leave the hotel. You leave the hotel, is like you break the bubble, so you're disqualified. So we can't leave the hotel for anything. And all the, food is being brought to us and things like that. So.
All right. Now, speaking of your situation, I've been on the road. I've coached a little bit of college basketball. Normally, you've got 2 to a room. Is that still the same, or does everybody have their own room? I'm just kind of curious how the arrangements are different now, given COVID.
Everybody has their own room. We have the whole floor. So we have the whole floor, and I think it's the Hyatt that we're in, Hyatt Regency. Every team has their own floors. 14 teams in here right now currently, and it's weird because everybody has their own room, so you don't have a roommate. So that's why I said when you were on that quarantine, it was really like isolation because you had no one to talk to. I'm sure these guys were FaceTiming each other or texting each other, things like that. But as far as an actual live person next to you, you couldn't, you can't talk to them. And then there is no going outside, so we haven't seen outside in a long time.
So last question before I give it back to Bryan. Did you guys have to literally have all your stuff packed, ready to go once you won the championship, or did you have time to go back to the dorm or go back wherever to get ready?
We were supposed to. I guess we were supposed to have it packed, but no one told us that we were leaving at 7:15. So, we had to. At least no one told me. I tell you that much. So at least we had to. I had to go back and just throw anything into the bag. I don't even know. I hope I got enough. I don't think I have enough, honestly. I know I definitely don't have enough when we make a good run. I definitely don't have enough. So I got to find some laundry in this hotel somewhere. But some of the other guys were in situations just like that. Like no one knew we was leaving at 7:15. So it was a shocker to everybody. And then we got on the plane and we came out here. But at the same time, I think, whatever the struggles of possibly doing laundry or whatever you got to do, I think everybody's still happy that you're part of March Madness.
Yeah, good. Good thing you guys were at home instead of winning it on the road. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna point that out. It's a good thing that you were in Norfolk. That's probably the one time that you were glad to be in Norfolk playing, so that way if you needed to go get something, you could go get something.
Yeah.
Really. Real quick, I want to take you real back to the game against Morgan. Now that was the 5th time you played them, and in the previous 4 meetings, you went 3-1 against them. All of the games were close, decided by 4 points, and then this one just took. You really separated from them, and they were coming in hot. I think they had a Mr. Ware, Datorian Ware was hot. Averaging like 30, but defensively, you guys put on a defensive clinic on taking charges. Talk just for a minute. It's probably no surprise to you, but talk a little bit about the defensive presence that your team played with in that game.
I think we've had a good defensive focus probably the last 5 games, honestly, and it just kind of just translated into that game, as well. But the other previous contest with Morgan was like tooth and nail almost the whole way for like 4 straight contests, and at one point in the championship game when it's all on the line, we were up 16 points at one point in the second half, and it was a little, to be honest with you, just a little shocking to me because I thought it was gonna be like a closer game. But I think maybe also with Morgan playing three games and us playing 2, and I think we have a little bit more depth than Morgan did anyway. We kind of wore on them a little bit just by pushing the pace a little bit more than maybe they wanted to push the pace. So I think that that helped a lot. And our guys, after that, like you said, we just put on defensive clinic. We wanted to make sure that we took away Datorian Ware. He was averaging 32 points, 10 rebounds coming into the championship game. It was no way we could let him get 32 and 10 and expect to win. So he was public enemy number 1 on the list, and we had to, shut him down and slow him down. He got a lot of empty points late, but throughout the course of the game, we were able to keep on control.
This next contest coming up, first round against Appalachian State, winners of the Sun Belt. Normally in a normal year, quote unquote normal year, this game would be on a Tuesday. But it's on a Thursday. Do you think that extra, I guess it'd be extra 2 days, is a benefit in some way because you get a chance to maybe scout a little more? You get a chance to, as you said, practice a little bit more. What are your thoughts on, before we let you go, just Appalachian State and just this extra time that you get because of the adjusted schedule?
Well, I think the extra time, like you said, it helps us prepare better. But at the same time, it doesn't really help us prepare for anything after that if we're fortunate enough to win. Because now you look at it Thursday, Saturday, Monday playing, and it's kind of like back to back to back. So if by some chance you're able to get to Monday, which is going to be, a very hard task with the bracket that we have. But if we're able to get to Monday, then, you hope you still have some legs, to stand on. So that makes it a little tougher. But Appalachian State, like we told our guys, some of our guys, of course, I think everybody's heard of Appalachian State because, the Division I, but some guys are not as familiar with Appalachian as, maybe we are as coaches. And I'm sure some of the Appalachian State kids are familiar with Norfolk State, like as the coaches are. So that, it's fair either way. But we told the guys that every team you play in this tournament is going to be a good team. If they weren't a good team, they wouldn't be here, so you're going to play, it's great that you won the MEAC championship, but there's 31 champions here, and there's another 37 that could have been champions that's here. So, it's great that you did it. You're only the second team in Norfolk State history to do it. But at the same time, that championship is long gone at this point. Yes, you'll get your banner. Yes, you'll get your ring, when it's all said and done. But once Thursday comes, no one cares because Appalachian State is going to get a banner, and they're going to get a ring too from the Sun Belt Conference. So, you have to be ready to play and understand that they're a champion too and respect them as such. So we've been just working on, early preliminary stuff today, just talking a little bit about their personnel today. And then we'll talk, start going into more game planning on Tuesday and Wednesday about what to do against them.
My last question before we close out, Coach. You've gone through a vigorous non-conference schedule. You've gone through a rough BAC schedule. How well has your non-conference, along with the trials and tribulations of the MEAC conference, prepared you for the NCAA tournament?
I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand how tough the MEAC schedule was this year because you played a team 4 times, you know, and honestly, the Northern Division was better than the Southern Division this year as far as like talent-wise. So you're playing the best of the best 4 times, you know, and, you know, that's why in the Northern Division, we kind of beat up on each other compared to the Southern Division, where I know A&T kind of ran away with it a little bit, but the Northern Division was just way tougher. So we kind of said from the beginning that we knew that the championship game was probably going to come down to 2 Northern Division teams, which is going to put us at 5 times each, which is something that you never even hear about, you know, in college basketball. And then for us to beat them 4 times, it's hard enough to beat a team 3 times in one season, let alone 4 times in one season. So that was tough. And then our non-conference schedule, I mean, it prepares us for something like Appalachian State, you know, because we've seen Radford, we've seen James Madison, we've seen, you know, UNC Greensboro, we've seen, you know, Old Dominion, you know, we've seen all of these teams that are very comparable to Appalachian State and maybe even slightly better than Appalachian State. So seeing Appalachian State on Thursday is not going to be like a shell shock for us. So that's a good thing. And that's what you want to have a good non-conference schedule to prepare you for moments like this.
All right. Well, again, Norfolk State taking on Appalachian State, scheduled for an 8:40 p.m. tip-off. Now, that'll be the second of 2 games in Assembly Hall on the campus of Indiana University. It'll be on True TV. And so all of HBCU Nation will be watching True TV because we got Texas Southern in the first game. We've got Norfolk State in the second. We're hoping we can go 2-0. I know personally for my family's Norfolk State Spartans. My parents are graduates, and they live in Indianapolis. So they are excited about Norfolk State. So congratulations, Coach. Best of luck. You guys stay safe, and we'll be rooting for Norfolk State definitely on Thursday night.
I appreciate you, and you know, tell your family, you know, come to the game. We need all the support we can get, man. You know, we need everybody we can get. And besides that, you know, behold the green and gold.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you again, Coach Robert Jones, head coach, Norfolk State University. We'll be back right after these words. Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Because the fight isn't over yet.
You will see me choose to protect my community by wearing a face cover.
And even with my face covered,
you will see me.
As a son.
As a man with a never quit attitude.
As a fighter for change.
Join me in wearing a face cover.
To help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness
that has the power to make a big difference.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
And welcome back to the pregame show. Charles Bishop and Neely. We're almost about 30 minutes here from kickoff here live from Mississippi Veterans Memorial. Our next guest, no stranger to the program, no stranger to the 1400 Club, head women's basketball coach, SWAC champion, Tamika Reed. Welcome in to the pregame show.
And on the bus, look at her. I tell you what.
Hey, y'all. How are y'all?
Coach. Doing well, Coach.
Coach.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I got to tell you now, I held it together when I saw your tears, but when I saw you and your son's tears, I started cutting some onions. I
know, it was such an amazing feeling, y'all. I can't even really explain it. You know, at that moment, the time is winding down. You just see the ball going back and forth, hitting the rim. You know, we don't want to foul. So it was just, and I didn't even know the game was over because we held the ball and just kind of watched, like, okay, what's next? We thought they were going to foul us, but it was, I mean, they stopped. They didn't try to go for that last foul, so they just stopped. So it was just such a surprise and so a lot of excitement and a lot of emotions at once.
Coach, I mean, stars on the team, Williams, Rogan. Yesterday, you had another person emerge, Sherelle Jones, in the championship game. Talk about her performance and those clutch free throws late.
You know, it was set up really good for her. Normally, she doesn't have really good games where she's shooting well from the free throw line. But in that particular game, she went 7 for 9 from the free throw line. And I mean, we were just so impressed with how locked in and focused she was for us. And when I called a timeout after she was fouled, I just kind of watched her. You know, she just kind of stared at me. She didn't talk the entire time. And so we just kind of looked over her and we just kind of talked about, okay, y'all, we are fine. We gave her the game plan. If we didn't score, what we need to do next. And, you know, our point guard, Janiyah, looked at her and said, oh, man, you good, let's go. And she went to the free throw line, knocked them down. It was a huge moment for her, a huge moment for us. She ran to me after she made the free throws and she was having a panic attack. She said, Coach, please take me out. She put everything she had in her, y'all, into those free throws. And she had nothing left for those last few seconds because she was such in a big shock of what we were going through. So I'm just so proud of her that she was able to do that. Do y'all know how much pressure that is?
A lot of pressure. The pressure of the world. You know, people grow up in their backyards, reliving those situations, you know, counting down the shot clock and shooting, standing at the line, got to make this a win. But to actually be there and do it, SWAC championship, nationally televised game. And Coach, you know, you and I have talked about her past couple of years, the development of her game and the way your coaching staff has worked with her. You know, she came here at one level, kind of in a shell, has blossomed and broke out of that shell. And it was phenomenal to see her be the one to nail those free throws.
And, you know, she's always been a great player. Mm-hmm. You know, when we recruited her from Northeast Mississippi Community College, she was just phenomenal there. She's a great rebounder. She averaged a double-double a game. And then when she came, her role changed a little bit, playing behind Marnisha Haber. But I always knew she was a good player. And so I will always tell her on last year, your time is coming. Your time is coming. Just hang in here. And sure enough, you know, she got an opportunity this year. I thought she's been playing extremely well. When Alexis went out, you know, Alexis is really key for us. Yeah. When Alexis went out, you know, she stepped up to the table in terms of rebounding the ball. You know, she shot that short jump shot, even though she didn't make it. And we told her, we have to be really good at this 4 spot. And so I thought she was that for us on yesterday.
No doubt about it. Well, I'll tell you what, Coach Reed, you gave us a lot of chill bumps yesterday. Quite a few of us, Neely, he's being bashful. He shed tears. I did too.
But Chuck, I know you're a wrestling fan. So I'm going to age myself here. No matter how the match was going, when Jerry Lawler took that strap down, it went to another level. Did y'all see when Coach Reed took her jacket off? I'm watching the national TV game and Coach Reed took that jacket off. I was like, we winning. She took the jacket off. Sun's out, guns out.
Yeah, I tried to come out of it before, and Coach Bradley put it back on me. And he's like, "We good, Coach. We good. Don't come on the jacket. We good." And by the next time, I was drenched in sweat. I said, "Listen, I don't care what I look like. We got to win the championship. I'm coming out this jacket, and you know we gonna get it done." So that's what it boiled down to. You know, Alabama State played a very physical game. One of the players, you know, almost knocked me off the court, and you know, I told the official, I got upset. You know, it was physical. It's a lot of smack talking, a lot of pushing, a lot of fighting, diving for the ball. I thought we were playing football at one moment, but I told our girls, you know, be classy, but be tough. Be classy and tough. Don't let nobody run over you. You know, and we're not scared. We've been here before. And so, you know, I thought they did a great job, you know, stepping to that task.
No doubt about it. Coach Reed, a hearty congratulations You made us proud over here. We look forward to the selection show to see where our Lady Tigers are going. Thank you for all that you've done for Jackson State University. You brought us another ring.
Awesome. Thank y'all. I want to show y'all something before I go.
All right.
There it is. There it is.
And I see that it's not in the seatbelt. We got the net hanging over it though.
We got the net hanging. We got it tied down in there though. It's tighty.
Can you hold it up so I can kiss it?
I'll take it to. There you go. Uh-oh, I think you gave that kiss to me.
That's okay. We'll talk off air.
Thank you, Coach Reed.
All right, thank y'all.
Right.
No doubt.
Have a good one. Okay,
You too.
Bye-bye.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member. Q Time is our classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q Time, an Urban Passport member.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down. It's like a loop machine.
Hello and welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford here, and joining me, the head coach of the champions of the MEAC, Coach Terrell Robinson of North Carolina A&T State University. Coach Robinson, congratulations on the championship.
Thank you.
What a season it has been. This is now your third conference tournament championship. So you're going to the big dance for the third time. And in a year like this, just if you can, as best as you can, describe some of your emotions as you sort of reflect back on everything that it took to get to that shining moment of winning that championship the way you did.
Man, it's real gratifying. I've had several moments since the championship game that I, get teary-eyed just, when I watch our young women in practice, when I watch them at the, at the airport earlier today, when I watch them at testing, just not really realizing, how special, this opportunity that they've created for themselves is, during this climate. The sacrifice is on a whole nother chart because, obviously there's a lot more important things going on in the world right now that we're dealing with that's a little bit bigger than basketball. And for, young people who have yet to transition into true adulthood to really block it out and show up in practice, 3 to 4 hours every day. When I say 3 to 4 hours, that's how we start. We don't end practice in 3 or 4 hours. I don't want to scare nobody, but 3 or 4 hours every day and remembering scouting reports and, all the, going to, getting treatment and so on and so forth. And then just following these protocols, one way in the gym, one way out, wearing your mask mask all the time. And, it's crazy, testing, not to mention testing 3 and 4 times a week, to be here. And that was my speech with them before the championship game. Like we're here, we got to make it worth it. And man, did we make it worth it? We ended it, in great fashion. And I'm just truly proud as alumnus of this university, and just, to be with this group of young women. They're very remarkable.
I hate to make you, or I hate to ask you to sort of compare experiences, because they all are unique in their own way. But how would you describe, I mean, if you, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's COVID, but if you can just the COVID aspect and everything that went into this year, what was unique about this team compared to maybe some of the other teams that you're going to the tournament with?
They listen. They really listen. Like, I tell them this all the time. Like, for me, this year was not a year to take things for granted. So I stepped up, and I would tell them, I'm the leader. Y'all gonna listen to what I tell you to do and how we're gonna do it. And I would just, because for everyone on this roster, they weren't a part of the other 2 times that we went. We had one young lady, Jasmine Walton, who was a part of a regular season championship team, but she wasn't part of a team that won the tournament and went on, to the NCAAs. So I was like, well, I got to take that in consideration. And, we have 10 new kids. We're the 6th youngest team in the country. I got to take that into consideration and make sure that I step up and bring some awareness to some things that they may miss. A good friend of mine, Kenny Brooks, a long time ago, the head coach of Virginia Tech, told me a long time ago, when you don't have a leader, you have to lead. And not that we don't have leaders, but we have young women that haven't experienced some of the things that are necessary to be leaders in that specific field. So I'd step up and say what needs to be said, because they, our young women, it's a group that really likes each other. They're very respectful of one another. They care about how each other feels. So they oftentimes don't tell each other the truth. And that's why I step in and take care of that for them.
Isn't it amazing? I'm hearing you talk about the characteristics of your team, and winning teams, championship teams have those kind of characteristics that you talk about. I hear coaches talk about that all the time. The players really like each other. I mean, they really enjoy being around each other. And when you get into moments like, the championship game, you have to really want to sacrifice for each other. And it may sound cliche to people who are not in it, but it really speaks to the maturity of this team. And that in itself is kind of interesting, because you mentioned the 6th youngest team in the country. And when that came out, I think that came out somewhere during the streak. I think I read about that about 4 or 5 games in. And that's when, I'll be honest, that's when I started paying attention. My eyes opened up, because I was like, whoa, the 6th youngest team and they're doing this? Talk a little bit about that and just what this team was able to show through their maturity, and being one of the best defensive teams in the country, as well as putting up, 70-something points a game on average.
Yeah, no, it was definitely growth. After every game, they improved. Our freshmen, really listened. Our kids that we brought in, and we had a core of returners that, in our mind, we underachieved last year. We were picked to win the league. We lost the preseason player of the year, Sequoia Ford, midway through the season after having some pretty big wins over, Clemson and VCU, and then winning 4 straight games in conference play, and to finish 4th, and then to lose to our rival, North Carolina Central, 3 times in a season, which is unheard of. I made sure that I reminded them of that every day, and especially when we came back and got together during the summer and on into the season. My thing with them is that, we can't pick and choose. Like, we can't pick and choose what the sacrifice is when adversity hits. We just got to respond. And that's been my thing with them all year. And like I said, they've been remarkable in terms of listening and responding, caring about each other enough in those moments to fix it. Playing defense, we know the biggest thing about defense is effort and enthusiasm. And that's something that they've really shown, following scouts, just really wanting to win and really wanting to fix, what I would consider, last year being, like I said, an underachieving year. Like, I'd hold it over our seniors' head. Jayla Jones-Pack and Deja Winters. Channing Scott, who was a very important piece to us this year, just got here this year, but I would consistently call out Jayla and Deja. And I'll be dang, man, they showed up this week, the weekend of the tournament. Deja hits that big shot. Jayla gets most outstanding player. Like all the adversity, all the cursing outs, all the calling outs, all the embarrassing moments with Coach Rob putting your back against the wall. And then those moments, they really rise to the occasion. I'm just really proud of.
And yeah, the fact that those seniors, you mentioned being the youngest group, but you have that core group of veteran players that really showed their leadership throughout the course of this season. I'm curious about the schedule. And it was kind of unique. I thought all year, A&T and Howard were one of the top teams in the country, along with a couple teams from the SWAC, and you guys were always right there in our rankings and polls, and we're just watching the fluctuation almost week to week, and we're just like, man, if I get anything less than an A&T Howard championship, I'm gonna be upset. I mean, honestly, with all respect to everybody else, it was just like not having that matchup. So maybe if you could take me into the locker room when you clear the semifinals. And okay, it's game time, and it's like, what is that speech like, or what kind of messaging maybe from the players? You finally get a shot at the other good team in the conference. Not with all respect to everybody else, but let's be real. I mean, the two favorites were yourselves and Howard.
Yeah, no, I'll take you further back. Once they announced the coach of the year, the player of the year, the rookie of the year, everybody thinks that they should get that recognition. Obviously Channing Scott, Deja Winters, I felt like they had comparable stats to be player of the year. Sean Kelly Darks had been, remarkable during her year. And I thought, we had the best record in regards to the two teams. And my thing with them, I would say, well, ladies, because Channing was like, well, coach, why would they not vote for me? I'm like, Channing, we can't get into thinking about why people didn't vote for you. You got to make them regret not voting for you. I said, my whole speech going into the tournament, I guess the North is a better division than the South. And they wanted to prove that different, and that was easy, man. That was easy. Like when you have competitors and when you're in that moment and you have an opportunity to show, all you got to do is push a couple of buttons, and the game showed that, both teams are very formidable, and it went down to the wire.
It did, and I was just watching it again, preparing a story that I'm going to be posting on our site, and I'm going through the plays again, and I'm just, to me, it's an instant classic. I think it had all of the elements of a championship game, and credit to both teams, players, coaches, because it had everything. It had heroic moments, it had some disappointing moments. It ends up with a big shot at the end, clutch performances. Deja Winters, I mean, I was kind of tracking the 3-point shooting in the fourth quarter. As a team, you guys had missed like the first 6, and then all of a sudden she hits that, down 4. She hits the one from like NBA range, or almost at least the men's line she hit it from, and to cut it to 1. And then at the end of the game, just the advancement into that final shot. And I mean, as the heading said on the website on NCAA-Aggies.com, it said ice cold. I mean, it was cold, man. it was cold. I mean, when you saw that ball advance, what was some of your thoughts? And maybe take us into the play, because it looked like right after the rebound, they knew what they were going to do right after that make or miss. There kind of was a plan as to what was going to happen.
Well, I mean, we had the people that touched that ball were a really experienced group. Channing Scott obviously got the rebound from the missed free throw. She hit Jasmine Walton, and we knew we were down 1. And in my assumption, we were going to try to go for 2, but Deja, a set that we were running, Deja, weren't able to get in the set, but Deja still ran into the corner where she knew where she was supposed to be. Yeah. And Jasmine advanced the ball to her, and where I'm thinking that she's going to put the ball on the floor and try to get to the rim, draw a foul. Deja, man, she chose different. She's like, I'm going to go on and end this thing. I'm going to call game. And let me give you some background on that. Our first loss in the beginning of the year to UNCG. We were down 3 with a sideline out of bounds set to tie the game. And I ran a set for Deja, and her timer was off. The play didn't work out, and she threw the ball up in the air, flipped her shirt and all this stuff and walked off the court. And when I finally watched the film later on that night and I saw her do that, I texted her. I said, Deja, I said, that body language to me is saying that you're not taking accountability for that moment. I said, you were open. You didn't take the shot. You allow the defense to recover on you. And then you're throwing balls up in the air, flipping your shirt, yada, yada, yada. I said, I expect you to be a big time player and be able to make plays in those moments when I call your name. And Deja tells me, she responds back. She said, Coach, you know what? You're right. But I want you to keep calling my name because I am that type of player and I want to make those shots for you. And for that to be the beginning of our season and the way she ended it, man, it's just phenomenal. She can shoot that ball. She can shoot that ball, and she knows she can shoot it, and her confidence is on that level. And I really feel like, when things like that happen, man, we were supposed to win. This is supposed to be our moment in this tournament, and I'm excited to be playing a familiar foe, on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. Let's before we kind of talk about that foe, I'm curious how your experience in the previous years for you as you prepare this team, obviously a different team than those other ones from 2016 and 2018, but just the routine and everything that you do. Anything that you are thinking about that you are planning or have already started doing differently, or maybe some thoughts about how you get this team ready for this familiar opponent, which is NC State?
You know what, this being my 3rd time, and I thought my very first time I wasn't prepared because, you're playing, we played Notre Dame and they're a talented team. They're a #1 seed. And you're just, all these thoughts are going through your head of what you need to do and you don't have enough time. And we got our heads beat in, so going into South Carolina, I can remember saying, we're going to stick to what we do, what we've been doing and what got us to this moment and not try to change anything up. And, we found ourselves, down 4 with under 3 minutes, and Asia Wilson had to be great in the #1 draft pick as she was in the WNBA to put us away, so we're going to stick to what we do, man. We're not going to try to be different. I don't anticipate them to be different. One of the biggest things for us is to score out of transition. When we put up those numbers, it is getting that ball off the glass or forcing turnovers. We're a top team in the country in forcing turnovers. And that's what I told them. I said, we got to defend. We can't say we're not going to defend and then going to do a poor job of executing in the half court. We got to do one or the other. We've been, we average 70+ points a game because we're probably scoring 20+ points in transition. So we're going to defend. We're going to get after it. We're going to turn them over. We're going to box out, rebound, and we're going to push that ball up the floor. We're going to look for, Deja Winters in that corner. We're going to expect Shannon Scott and Sean Kelly Darks to be athletic and get to that rim. We're going to expect Jayla Jones back to give us an inside presence. Slick Watson, to make plays for us. Like, we're going to be exactly who we are, but we're going to be a lot better than we were in the tournament game against Howard. Because I thought Coach Grace and Ayanna Warren, man, phenomenal kid, did a great job of dictating tempo. We had no chance of turning them over. We had no chance of speeding them up. They had a great point guard, as NC State does, and we got to be better, going into this game.
So with this familiar foe, you opened the season against NC State a year ago, and so obviously a lot's changed, but there probably a lot of familiar faces on both sides. Can you sense a little bit of confidence, or maybe a little extra confidence from your players in the fact that, oh yeah, we know them, we remember them? Talk a little bit about the matchup with NC State and where you feel your team has grown from that contest a year ago.
Yeah, what I can remember about when we played them last year, and I think we lost 80-44, was telling our young women, that they were a top 10 team, and they weren't a top 10 team yet. I'm like, look, this team is good. They are from top to bottom. They have depth. They can score in so many various ways. And that was our first game of the season, and they hit us in the mouth. as we got better, as the season progressed. We played a top 25 Miami to single digits. We beat Clemson later on. So we got better from that moment in terms of we can take on Power 5 schools and compete and put ourselves in position to win. And that's the one thing that I reflect on with that NC State game. It was our first game of the season. We hadn't quite found our rhythm. We didn't quite understand who we were. And, you go a year later having to play them again with some familiarity with young women that was there. And, with our pieces, like, I feel like this team, based on numbers anyways, is a better offensive team. We struggled offensively back then. I thought we turned them over a lot, but it was one of those things where you turn them over 3 times and you only score once. And then you're tired from defense. Now they're starting to wear you down, where, I think this team that I have this year is going to take advantage, man. We're going to go down and have opportunities of scoring. Our defense is going to be what it's been. I don't see anything changing in that, and we're going to have a really good game plan. And I just really feel like we're going to put ourselves in position to win that game.
All right. And that game is Sunday, 4 p.m. on ESPN against NC State. And so tell us a little bit about, if you could, before I let you go, Coach, about just the protocols of what you've had to go through. Obviously, you finished with the championship. Did you guys get a chance to go back to Greensboro, or did you instantly have to get on the move to San Antonio? Just give us a little background on what the protocols have been like over the last 48 hours for you all.
All right. Well, everything – consecutive day testing started last Tuesday prior to the tournament, so we had to test going into the tournament, test when we came back from the tournament, test on Monday. We had a selection show gathering, and then we practiced at 5:30 a.m. this morning to 7:30 a.m. because we knew we'd have to quarantine, for 2 days. We had a 10 a.m. charter. Got here about noon, went directly to testing. That was crazy because we had to wait for everybody's test and test results. So, that's 15 minutes on every person. So there was, if you came in ahead of 5 people, you're waiting on them too, and we all were in our different pods, and we were the first team. We were the first team to show up. So we was kind of the test subject. So for them to see if their system worked, and then other teams started to come through. Then from there we left as a group. We grabbed our gifts from the NCAA. Took a nice picture as a group, and then we got here. And once we got to the hotel, they were taking you up to your hotel individually, 4 in a group, and then once you get in your room, you can't leave. You can't leave your room. They're bringing food to your room, which is pretty neat. Like I told you, that jet lag got me, man. We were supposed to talk a little bit early. I was knocked out, but yeah, so we're quarantining right now. We're quarantining again tomorrow, and then we'll test in the morning. Just saw we have 8 a.m. Testing, and we're quarantining again, and then do half a quarantine on Thursday, and then we'll get back to practicing and be able to move around a little bit more.
When we had a chance to talk to Coach Jones at Norfolk State about their experience, he mentioned that a lot of the players had their own rooms. Is it a similar situation?
Yeah. Everybody's got their own room. They're really trying to, if there is a breakout, they want to try to confine it to that individual person. Even on the buses that we got on in Greensboro and got on here, they have X's for every 2 seats for you to sit. And we came up with 2 to 3 buses to space out everybody again, to make sure that they try to confine the virus if it were to spread, and obviously the group of individuals can still continue on, with their tournament run. But it's, this is something that I wanted to be a part of, because this is unique and it's going to be talked about for a long time. And I'm glad that my young women get to experience some for the first time. Well, all of them with the first time, but some with the first time with chances of doing it a few more times, in the future. But this has been great. It's been a dream come true for me.
Yeah. Well, look, I know this is it sounds like all of the protocols are in place for this to be successful. It's interesting hearing about the measures that are being taken to protect everybody, but just so that this can happen and so that nobody gets partially through the process and has to be eliminated or anything like that. So it's encouraging to hear, and it definitely, as you said, it'll be one of those memorable experiences that no one hopefully will ever be able to say that, hey, we won a championship and went to the tournament in a pandemic. We surely hope it never happens again. So Coach, I know I want to let you get your rest, and I appreciate your time. Congratulations. We're all going to be tuned in Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern time against NC State. The ACC champ goes up against the MEAC champ, North Carolina A&T, one of the best. One of the stats that I love is that and I don't know how much you follow stats. I got a feeling that you follow some. I loved hearing offensive points per possession. I think the last time I saw, A&T was like third in the country, tied like right behind UConn and another team in terms of points per 100 possessions. And then of course, a top 10 defensive team in terms of points allowed. So, as you said, it's all there for an upset, and we're rooting for it. We're going to be rooting for North Carolina A&T to pull off the upset over NC State on Sunday. So,
thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely, Coach. Hey, thank you for your time. Good luck to you and the coaching staff and the ladies. Congratulations. What a great way to end the run in the MEAC. And hey, God bless and good luck in the tournament.
All right, take care.
All right, take care.
But stay hard.